Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome back Richard Atias.
Good afternoon. How are you? So, I'm happy that we will have the next 20 minutes talking not only about business. It's my great pleasure to introduce to you a man who do not need any introduction. So without any short notice, I'm so happy to call on stage Mr. Robert De Niro. And please, I think Mr. De Niro needs a standing ovation. He's an icon.
Where should I sit?
Hi, Bob.
Here?
Here. Thank you. Thank you. Bob, thank you for being with us.
Happy to be here.
You are also a guest of the Omar Bongo Foundation for the past few days. You just spent 4 days in Africa. You started with Rwanda.
Yes.
And you are in Gabon for the past 2 days.
Yes.
Is it your first time in Africa?
No, I've been to Kenya before, many years ago, almost 30 years ago, on a safari. I've been to North Africa, South Africa. But this part of Africa, no.
How was your the first feeling, the first feedback, the first impression?
It was great. Gabon is great. We're sorry we're here for such a short time, but we got a good sort of overview of the country. It's beautiful. The vast.
Tell us how it is, because we are not so lucky. We are here in this convention center for 2 days. We have no single idea about what is outside Libreville.
Well, it's it's just a huge area of land, parks that no one's there, and it's incredible. It's incredible. It's beautiful, and it'd be nice to come back and just enjoy that. We flew over in a helicopter, so it was another feeling. But we got a good sense of that part of the country along the coast. We were fortunate to see it that way, but it would be nice to come back and just be in a tranquil situation where you could go and not see anybody for a long time and see animals. All you would see were animals, no people.
Which is not the case in New York, huh?
Not the case in New York. We were just in Rwanda. It was very nice too. It was terrific. Both countries are very, very special, very unique, and we look forward to coming back.
Great. Bob, everybody knows your career as being an amazing, not just actor, a producer, a film director, etc., but you are also involved in what I would call the lifestyle business. Everybody knows your Nobu, the famous Nobu brand, that you are part of it. Do you see any potential here, any opportunities for this, I would say, tourism destination, hotel business in the region?
No, absolutely. Here especially, I mean, it's so special that, I mean, I started thinking, a resort, a certain type of resort here in my head, based on what I had seen, what I had heard, pictures and so on. Being here, it's so special that I'd have to think about what could be a resort of a sort that would encompass all the things that would complement the country, the area. It's very, very, very special. And I'm thinking to myself, how would you do something here that would be I don't know. I'm still thinking how it would be done. It's just very, very special. It's incredible.
Great.
I wouldn't give an easy answer and say it would be this or that. I just don't know. I'm thinking, how could you do it in the best sense that complements, as I say, what's here already?
Which advice would you give to African governments based on your experience of successful, I would say, projects that you had not only in America, but also in other regions? I know you are thinking of doing things in the Middle East.
Yes.
What would be the ideal business model to be successful in that industry?
Well, the ideal, of course, the first thing is that it's a stable government and that there's not discord and uh, agitation, and that people are generally in a good place and space, and the leadership is one that the infrastructure is strong and clean, clear. I think any place you go, you want to make sure that when you're there, you're going to be there for a long time. I always think of doing things that are going to last. They're going to become part of a, you know, if I was thinking like, for example, if I did a hotel or something in another country or another place, I want it to be thought of as a hotel that's part of the country. You think of France, you think of the Eiffel Tower. You think of southern France, you think of the Hotel du Cap. You think of certain places that are institutions and will last for a long time, and they add to the charm and to the wanting to see the country, the place.
The iconic place.
Yeah, exactly. So this being Africa and being this incredible landscape, and it's like.
Is there any way that the African culture inspired your work for the past decades?
Well, Africa is Africa. I mean, it's inspired the world. And it's affected the world in so many ways. So I think civilization started here, if I'm not mistaken, or the human race started here and somewhere in Africa. So I'd love to do a movie here. I'd love to.
You never did?
Shoot on. No, never.
Oh, really?
Only a
so
couple.
what should we do to
2 days
help
in
you?
Morocco. That's it.
What should we do to?
Well,
what can we do? We have here investors. Maybe we can find some potential investor joining you as a producer.
Well, the thing with the thing with making a movie here is like, say, whatever country. Usually, the country wants participation or a story connected to the country. Not always, or use of the local people, which is normal. I mean, for example, when I shot The Good Shepherd, I shot it in the Dominican Republic. We were going to come here. I think we were thinking of going to Maputo to shoot the African scenes, the Congo, but instead we shot in the Dominican Republic, and it was fine, and also budgetary reasons. But here, it's incredible. I mean, just to think of how, with the help of the authorities in Gabon or other countries, it's very exciting.
We should have a deal, you know. Everybody remember, even if it was sometimes a little bit cliché, what two of your friends and colleagues, Robert Redford and Meryl Streep, when they were playing Out of Africa, which is this amazing movie. So maybe you should think about that. I'm sure we can incentivize some people to join you as a producer.
No, it's a big commitment, but if it's worth it, the story is worth it, and there are great stories in this part of the world. Like one great one is Lawrence of Arabia. I mean, there are stories that would very possibly be done, and if you have the financing and the support of the government, you can get them done, because they are grand, epic tales, which I think those are the kind of things that I like.
Great. India has started a great movie industry with Bollywood. Africa is starting with what we call Nollywood from Nigeria. Do you think there is any future or really potential to have an African movie industry?
Yes, of course there is. It's just, again, and I'm not, I don't know enough about Africa as far as the movie industry goes. I don't know whether it's Nigeria that makes the most films.
Yes, Nigeria, definitely. Yes.
And of course, there can be an African film community, international within Africa film community, and also spreading to other parts of the world. As far as India goes, India makes more movies than any other country in the world. So it's great. But I think, of course, African. If you have studios and set up things, what you have to do is you have to have stability, I guess, again, and people have to know that when they come here, it's not going to last for 8 years. It's going to last for a long time. They know they come back and they start. You have to develop that relationship with filmmakers wanting to come here.
So what should be the main criteria, let's be very practical, based on your experience, that a country or a region should take to start a real serious sustainable movie industry?
You have to first hire the right people. You have to have enough money to hire the right people who know what they're doing as far as building studios, technicians, creative people, to start coming up with and I'm not saying I'm going to do it. So
No,
I know
I'm
the
just
idea,
taking some advice from you.
but if you have people, many filmmakers, certain filmmakers or people, filmmakers from the area, and then they enlist the professionals from Hollywood and other places to come and say, well, this is what you have to do. This is how you create the infrastructure. This is how you set up these studios. Now you have to create the material in order to the stories. What stories come out of this region that are famous classic stories? What stories out of this region that could be done in such a way that they would appeal to other countries on the continent and then worldwide, of course. So you have to hire those people, pay them, and give them the incentive. Like people come over from the oil companies to work here. You have to do the same with movie people. Bring them over, set up a community, and they work very seriously to help. And it's an investment. It's a commitment of time and a lot of money to make sure that it sticks once it's done. And so that when you're at a point, say if it was Gabon, then people can leave or stay, and a community and a film thing starts, and maybe they do commercials here too, or they do other things that all of a sudden it's up and running. And people will come from all over to work here, especially if the expenses are reasonable and you get a break. It's cheaper than anywhere else. They'll come here. It's a long-term developmental process, which can be done anywhere. It's just a matter of commitment, the money, and not saying we're going to do it. You could take it in stages. Maybe say, well, 5 years, we'll see where we are in 5 years. We'll go like this. And then you see where 10. And then at one point there has to be a real, you'll see whether it's worth it to go forward and really do it or not. I mean, make an industry in this part of the world. It is possible.
It is possible.
Anything is possible, and that certainly is possible.
So allow me to ask you a last question before taking 2-3 questions from the audience. So if you can have the microphones ready. You are the decision maker on something very specific, which is a film festival. You are the founder of the famous Tribeca Film Festival. You also went in partnership, you started a partnership with Qatar, doing the Doha Tribeca Film Festival 3 years ago, maybe, started?
4 years.
4 years ago already. What would be the condition, the criteria to hope to have one day in Africa, maybe a Gabon, maybe a Libreville Tribeca Film Festival?
Well, that's certainly possible, and some open to discussion. Certainly, that's not.
And what should be the main criteria? What were the criteria to host and to have a partnership with the Tribeca Film Festival?
Well, I mean, it's kind of what you have here, the New York Forum. You do the same thing with the festival. And we come over, and our staff and all the people that work with the festival, and my partner Jane Rosenthal and Jeff Gilmore and Nancy Schaefer, they would come and just we'd get it up and running and have the local people who are interested in film. Those are the first and foremost, and then anybody else who's interested in it, and then volunteers who are for wherever, it just slowly builds up. I mean, that's a discussion that can be had easily in New York or here.
So, this is a very strong and very positive message. So this is a concrete action. The Tribeca Film Festival could find a partnership here. So the ball is in your camp. So let's have 1 or 2 questions from the audience. And please introduce yourself, and should be a question. not an assessment, please, a question. To end by a question mark. Yes, gentleman at the back, please. Okay, let's start. Lady first, be polite, and then number 3.
Hi, my name is Miss Anrawane. I'm from Nigeria, a student at the Harvard Business School. My question really is about what you would look for in local partnerships. We've talked about things that governments can do to attract the film industry, but as we've said, we have a vibrant film industry in the form of Nollywood and many other industries already in Africa. So what can film directors, film producers do to attract large-scale partnerships coming from the West to Africa to support and complement what's already on the ground, as I believe we do have a lot on the ground?
Thank you.
No, I think, like I say, you have to, the way I would do it, I say, look, I have a certain amount of budget, and it has to be a good budget. And that's the classic problem with movies all the time, is money. But if you're a country and you have money, if you have money, you hire the people. You say, we want to set up a structure with these people. You approach those people to come over to this country, learn about the culture, and help meet all the filmmakers here, the writers here, the creators of that who are interested in film, work with them on writing stories, whether they be small stories or small movies or larger movies and stories that could more people in different countries could relate to on the continent here in Africa or worldwide. I mean, that's how it starts. You start getting a bunch of material by and working, and then there's the money. The money has to be like in France. I mean, the way I understand it, and maybe I don't have it perfect, but the state encourages and supports certain things, and when that happens, like in Qatar, they do that somewhat too. Then you have people being able to work and support themselves and create. It's that simple. And then slowly things start building up, and then you have a film community, you have an industry here, and then you start attracting, as I say, it's not only just movies, but it could be commercials. Let's do one in Gabon. Let's do one where we can do something here for this amount of money. It's a great place. It's easy to get to. It's cheap, not that expensive to get here, and so on, and all these incentives that make people want to shoot here. And then if you want to do movies that are not, say, about the place that they are, say you're doing a movie about New Orleans or something, and they can't do it in New Orleans, though this time there are breaks in Louisiana, they come here, and then how do you recreate a set in the sets of the whatever that movie is, the interiors especially, the exteriors are harder. But these days with digitally enhanced things, it's so easy to change things. You don't need, you can do a lot. Again, it's how to attract and draw the filmmakers here, and because it's, it's not a thing that happens overnight. You have to really create that ambience, that feeling that people want to work here and they know it's not going to just go away in a couple of years. Stability, it can be done. It can be done. I hope I answered the question.
Yeah, thank you. Number 3.
My name is Sheikh Ibrahim Diong from Senegal. I guess the question about to ask may sound a little bit provocative, but if you look at over the decades, you see so many actors picking up different issues. And sometimes I wonder whether this is about the actor or the issues that actually they champions. Many actors champion South Sudan and other causes. I wonder to what extent within the actors community do you actually coordinate your efforts to make sure that the issue is not about yourself, but it's about the causes that you defend?
I just didn't hear the last part of it too well. I didn't hear it.
Can you repeat your last point, please?
My question is, when I looked at all the issues to be champions, and you look at the actors, what they support, I have the feeling that most of the time it's more about the actors themselves talking about these issues and championing them and being highlighted but it's not about the issues that they actually support. So my question is, to what extent do you actually consult with the other fellow actors to make sure that like you pull your resources together and what you're championing so the focus remains on the issue, but not the actors themselves and their own publicity?
Okay, can you just tell me that? I want that explained to me a little. I understand it, but I want to make sure I got it right.
No, in fact, how can we be sure that the actors will really focus on the issue that they want in the movie and not just to focus on their own I
You
would
mean-
say, brand?
On the subject?
Yeah.
Well, they have to. That's, you could say anywhere. That you're saying if an actor is doing,
To support the cause.
support
The cause.
the cause being what I was just talking about? Making movies or coming to the...
No.
Oh.
About the topic in the movie.
The topic
Yeah.
in the movie. Well, they have to support the topic in the movie. It's also for the director to make sure that they support it. That's the whole point. I don't know if that's quite the question, but that's... is that...
Cher?
Again, let me try to re-explain myself again. If it is not clear, I'll do it in Chinese. Probably it's much easier. But the question I'm saying is, I looked at, for example, George Clooney supporting South Sudan.
Yeah.
Whenever I see him on TV talking about South Sudan, it's all about himself. It's never about the South Sudan set of issues.
This is what I was saying.
I look at other actors supporting other causes as well. It's all about themselves. So the question that I have, when you talk to other fellow actors, do you actually coordinate among yourself to make sure you pull your resources, your energy, and what you're supporting,
cause,
so the focus remains on what you support rather than on yourself? Because it seems to me it's much more personalized rather than like you're focusing on what the issues are in terms of Africa, for example.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I think George Clooney did focus on the issue. He's very supportive of the Sudan, and nobody else is, or a lot of people aren't. He's very vocal about it, and I think he's brought a lot of attention to the Sudan. It's not about him, but he's using whatever his celebrity is to gain the attention for this problem. If he didn't do it, then we wouldn't. If he didn't do something, I wouldn't even be aware of those things. And so I don't see how. I don't think he's directing any of the attention to himself. Only using the attention that comes his way to draw attention to the trouble in Sudan.
Last question from this side. Okay, the lady. No, the third row. Okay, this will be the last question. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Elizabeth Dearborn Davis from the Aquila Institute in Rwanda, and there are several people in the room who work in Rwanda, so we'd love to know if you had a good trip.
Yes, I did. I had a great time there. We had a great time there. We did. And we're having a great time here, too.
Okay, so
Did you see the gorillas?
Yes, we did.
Okay, my last question to you, Bob. As I would say, a transition with the next big station. The next big station will be about USA-Africa relationship and partnership. So what will be the advice you will give to the US administration, if you have one advice to give, to reinforce the relationship between USA and Africa?
Well, there are so many things going on between the USA and Africa.
You can give three advice.
Or not going on. I mean, give me an area. I don't know. You know, it's,
Politics.
my God, which country in Africa?
It is a good answer already.
I mean, there are so many different.
Do you think that the US are enough present in Africa?
I don't-
I will be a little bit provocative. Personally, I consider that President Obama, I was expecting from President Obama to come more often in Africa. I thought that having an African-American president, I would see a much stronger relationship between Africa and America.
Well, you know, I think Obama is doing as good a job as he can. I think he's doing a very good job. It's very difficult to be president, and everybody can criticize, but he is. The one thing I know about Obama is he's a good person. He's trying to do the right thing. He's not a game player. Yet, he's got to play the game now that he's in there when he plays the game, he plays it to win for good reasons, not for nonsense. It's to try and do the best thing, the right thing.
And
So
we
he
know,
should
but
be
he has
here,
a
he
lot
should
on
be
his
there.
plate.
He has a
We
lot
know
on his
he's
plate. He
that
should be here, he should be there, but he can't do everything. So he's trying to do, and I'm sure he's just probably at this point inured to the fact that people are going to be criticizing him. He's trying to do his best. That you know with him. With other leaders, you don't get that. They're up to no good. But that's...
Excellent. Thank you very much. Mr. De Niro, thank you. Is there any question that I didn't ask that you would like to answer, Bob, before you leave?
No. I'll think about it after, but I can't now.
Okay, so thank you. We will see Robert De Niro later today. And now I'm calling Shade Ballerina for the next session about U.S. and Africa relationship. Thank you again. Thank you. Thank you.